God's chosen March 31st. Emergency update. Something big is happening right now. I wasn't going to record this video today, but I must. Because what is happening at this exact moment with a specific group of people cannot wait until tomorrow. If you are feeling a weight in your chest, that is not pain, that is not illness, that is not everyday anxiety. If there is a pressure inside that seems to push something from within you outward, as if your own body knew something that your mind has not yet processed, then this video is for you. It is not for everyone. It is for you. And I need you to listen until the end, because what I'm going to reveal here in the following lines has the power to completely change how you will live the next 30 days. Something extraordinary is unfolding now. Not eventually. Not in a distant future now. And the only real question, the only one that matters, is whether you will be awake when it happens. I know this sentence sounds strong. I know part of you just raised a mental barrier, because you have heard promises before. You have heard that the hour would come, that the time was now, that the turning point was near. And what came after was more waiting, more silence, more closed doors, I know. And that is precisely why what I am going to show you now is different, because I am not going to ask you to believe me. I am going to give you the evidence. I will show you the exact mechanism of what is happening inside you, both on a spiritual level and on a neurological level, and when you see the two locked together, doubt will no longer have a place to stand. Let's start with what you are feeling in your body. This pressure in the chest, this restlessness that feels like nothing you have ever felt before. It is not the nervousness of a difficult meeting. It is not the anxiety of an overdue bill. It is something deeper, more visceral, as if compressed energy were trying to break through a barrier inside you. You may have gone to the doctor, you may have had exams, and you heard that everything is normal, because it is. Physically, there is nothing wrong. What is happening is not physical. It is the spiritual using the body as a communication channel. Neuroscience has documented a phenomenon that aligns with this in an impressive way. Researchers at UNIFESP studied what happens in the autonomic nervous system when a person is on the verge of a significant life change, even before consciously knowing that this change is approaching. What they found is that the body responds before the mind. The nervous system detects changes in the individual's emotional and energetic field and reacts with physical symptoms, thoracic pressure, changes in sleep patterns, a sense of urgency without an identifiable cause, and a hyperactivation of the solar plexus, that region between the chest and the stomach that many spiritual traditions consider the center of intuition. Your body is not malfunctioning. It is warning you. It is saying, in the only language it knows, that something big is coming. If this describes exactly what you are experiencing, leave your like now, not for me, for you. Because this gesture is the first conscious act of recognition. It is you saying, I hear what my body is telling me. I stop ignoring it. Now I need to take you to a territory that will require courage on your part, because what I am going to reveal about you is not comfortable. It is liberating, but it is not comfortable. And the difference between the two is enormous. Since your childhood, you operated on a different frequency. You knew things you had no way of knowing. You felt things that no one around you seemed to feel. You had perceptions, intuitions, an ability to read environments and people that went far beyond what was expected for your age. Perhaps you were the child who knew when something was wrong in the family before any adult noticed. Perhaps you were the child who felt out of place, not because there was something wrong with you, but because the frequency at which you operated simply found no correspondence in the surrounding environment. Science has a name for this. Researchers in cognitive neuroscience, including studies conducted at the University of São Paulo, have identified that certain individuals present a natural predominance of gamma brain waves. Gamma waves are the highest frequency in the brain activity spectrum and are associated with states of high insight, expanded perception, deep creativity, and, according to some researchers, spiritual experience. Studies with advanced meditators, Tibetan monks, and practitioners of contemplative prayer show extraordinary peaks of gamma activity during states of deep spiritual connection. In other words, what spiritual traditions call a gift, an anointing, a calling, neuroscience observes as a measurable pattern of brain activity that certain people carry from birth. And here is the point that changes everything. This pattern does not disappear. It is suppressed. Chronic stress, social pressure, external expectations, trauma, all of this acts as a layer of interference over the gamma waves. It does not destroy the gift, it muffles it. It is like a radio tuned to a powerful station but covered by layers of static. The station continues transmitting, the signal remains strong, but the reception is compromised. And the person, who once heard with absolute clarity, begins to think they have gone deaf. They begin to think that God has stopped speaking. They begin to question if what they felt in childhood was real or an illusion. I need you to listen to this with all the attention of your being. It was not an illusion, it was real, and it remains real. The signal never stopped. It is you who were buried by layers of noise that were not yours. Noise from others, expectations. Noise from traumas you did not choose. Noise from a system that was not designed for people who operate at your frequency. But now, at this specific moment, the layers are falling. The static is dissipating. And the original signal, the one you have carried since before you were born, is returning with an intensity that your body recognizes before your mind. That is why you feel this pressure. It is the signal breaking through the static. It is the original frequency reasserting itself after years of being muffled. Write the word awakened in the comments. I want this word to be more than a comment. I want it to be an anchor, a timestamp. The record that on this day, at this hour, you recognized what is happening. Now I need to open a spiritual layer that will connect all of this with a precision that is no coincidence. There is a Hebrew word that describes exactly this process of a gift that lies dormant and is then reactivated. The word is Ur. Ur means to awaken, but not in the casual sense of waking up in the morning. Ur carries the connotation of something that was dormant being called back to activity with urgency. It is the same root used in the Song of Songs when it says, "Do not awaken love until it so desires." The idea is that certain things have a precise time to be activated, and activating them before the time is as harmful as never activating them at all. Your gift has a time, and the time is now. It wasn't before because before it wasn't safe. If your gift had been fully activated 5 years ago, in the circumstances you were in, with the people who surrounded you, with the level of emotional maturity you had, it would have destroyed you or been destroyed. Powerful gifts in unprepared terrain generate disasters. It is like giving a Ferrari to someone who hasn't learned to drive. The power is real, but without preparation the power becomes danger. God did not suppress your gift to punish you. He protected your gift from an environment that was not yet ready to receive it, and He protected you from a power that you were not yet equipped to manage. Every year of apparent silence, every phase in which you felt your gifts withered, that your clarity diminished, that your spiritual connection weakened, was the training period. It was the time of the roots. The analogy is biologically precise. A sequoia, the tallest tree on the planet, spends its first years of life almost invisible on the surface. While other trees grow rapidly upward, the sequoia invests almost all its energy in roots. Deep, wide, intertwined roots. On the surface it seems like nothing is happening. It seems the sequoia is falling behind. But what is happening underground is the construction of a foundation capable of sustaining a height of over 100 meters and a life of over 2,000 years. Without this invisible investment, the tree would not survive the first gale. You are a spiritual sequoia. The years when it seemed nothing was growing were the years when everything was deepening. And now, with the roots finally established, visible growth begins. And when the sequoia decides to grow upward, nothing stops it. If you are not yet subscribed to this channel, this is the moment. Subscribe and activate the notification bell. Because in the coming days, I will bring revelations that connect directly with what I am sharing now. Each video is a piece of a larger map. And whoever loses a piece cannot see the complete image. Now I need to talk about Joseph. Not the Joseph the world admires, the Joseph the world forgot, because there is a version of Joseph's story that is rarely told, and it is exactly the version that mirrors what you have lived. Most people know Joseph as the governor of Egypt, the man who saved an entire nation from famine, the dreamer who became a leader. But between the dream and the throne, there are 13 years that almost no one mentions. 13 years of slavery, of prison, of being forgotten. 13 years in which Joseph had all the gifts, all the capacity, all the anointing, and absolutely no platform. He interpreted dreams in prison. He saved the life of Pharaoh's cupbearer, and the cupbearer forgot him. For 2 whole years, the man Joseph helped simply did not remember that he existed. You know what that is like. You know what it is like to have helped people who later did not remember your name, to have given your best in contexts that did not recognize you, to have operated with excellence in environments that had no idea what was in front of them. Each of these moments was a thread being woven into the rope that will sustain what is to come. But here is the detail that most sermons about Joseph ignore. In the 13 years of waiting, Joseph was not just being tested, he was being calibrated. Each situation he faced refined a specific competence. In Potiphar's house, he learned administration. In prison, he learned leadership under pressure. In the cupbearer's forgetfulness, he learned not to depend on human connections for the fulfillment of divine purpose. When he finally stood before Pharaoh, he was not just an interpreter of dreams. He was a trained administrator, a leader proven under fire, and a man who knew that his destiny did not depend on who remembered him, but on who had called him. This is the type of person God reveals, not the talented person, the calibrated person, not the gifted person, the forged person. And the forging process requires exactly what you went through: heat, pressure, and time. The Hebrew word for this type of refinement is tsaraf. Tsaraf is the process used by the goldsmith to purify gold. The raw gold is placed in the fire. The heat is intensified until the impurities separate and rise to the surface. The goldsmith removes the impurities and repeats the process several times, and rabbinic tradition says that the goldsmith knows the gold is pure when he can see his own reflection in it. God is the goldsmith. You are the gold. And every trial you faced, every fire you walked through was a round of purification. The process did not end when the pain passed. It ended when God saw his reflection in you, and he is seeing it now. That is why the pressure has changed in quality. It is no longer the fire of the trial. It is the pressure of birth. Let me give you a data point that will anchor this in a practical perspective. A study conducted by the Getulio Vargas Foundation in partnership with IBGE analyzed the professional trajectories of Brazilians who experienced significant career or position changes after age 45. The result completely challenges the narrative that the best years are left behind. Individuals who changed course after 45 presented, on average, professional and personal satisfaction rates 42% higher compared to those who achieved stability early. And the most cited factor for this difference was what researchers called accumulated experiential capital. In simple language, they took longer to arrive, but when they arrived, they had something those who arrived quickly did not have: depth, discernment, the ability to make decisions under pressure without collapsing. The market calls this seniority. The Bible calls it spiritual maturity. The effect is the same: an authority that cannot be manufactured, only forged. You have this capital. Every year of waiting deposited a layer, and the balance of this investment is about to be released. Now I need to enter the part that will require from you the greatest dose of honesty with yourself. Because understanding what is happening is one thing. Acting upon it is something completely different. The emergency I mentioned in the title of this video is not that something is going wrong in your life. The emergency is that something is about to go right. And I know that sounds strange, but think with me. Most people are prepared for crisis. They know how to react when a problem appears. They know how to operate in survival mode. They know how to tighten their belts and endure. But almost no one is prepared for the blessing. Almost no one knows what to do when the door finally opens. When the opportunity arrives. When recognition appears. When life says yes after years of saying no. And that is where the real danger lies. It is not failure that destroys the chosen. It is the lack of preparation in the face of success. It is the silent self-sabotage that kicks in when something good finally happens. That voice that says, "This is not for me." That impulse to retreat exactly when one should advance. That irrational fear that if something good enters your life, it will soon be taken away. This pattern has deep roots. Behavioral psychology researchers from PUC Rio identified that adults who grew up in environments of emotional or financial instability develop what they called the temporary window syndrome. They believe, at an unconscious level, that good things are always temporary, that every window of opportunity is short, that every blessing comes with an expiration date, and this unconscious creed generates self-sabotaging behaviors, procrastination in the face of opportunities, unnecessary conflicts in healthy relationships, decisions that unconsciously push away exactly what is most desired. I need you to identify this pattern in yourself now, not later, now. Because what is coming into your life requires that this pattern be broken before it sabotages what God is delivering. The blessing is at the door. But if you open the door with the hands of the old identity, you will hold the blessing so tightly that you will crush it, or you will hold it so loosely that you will let it slip. What the new phase requires is serene firmness, holding with confidence without desperation, receiving with gratitude without incredulity, walking with purpose without haste. Share this video now. Send it to someone you know is in this same moment, who is feeling the same pressure, the same restlessness, and who perhaps is interpreting it all wrong. Your act of sharing could be the difference between that person awakening or continuing to sleep on the eve of the greatest turnaround of their life. I need to give you concrete tools, because revelation without application is entertainment, and you are not here to be entertained. You are here to be transformed. First tool. In the next 7 days, I want you to practice what I will call a suppression inventory. Every day before going to sleep, write down 3 things you wanted to do or say during the day but didn't. Not for lack of time, out of fear, out of habit. Because of that voice that says it's not the time, it's not the place, it's not your role. This exercise will show you, in less than a week, the exact map of where your original frequency is being muffled. It will reveal the precise points where the static is densest, and when you see the map, you can begin to clear the signal. Second tool. Every morning, before any screen, before any interaction, I want you to declare out loud, I allow my gifts to operate at full capacity today. I do not retreat from what has been given to me. I know this may seem too simple, but neuroscience proves that first-person verbal declarations made out loud activate the prefrontal cortex in a way that silent thoughts cannot. When you say it out loud, the brain processes it as a command. When you think it in silence, the brain processes it as a suggestion. And you do not need suggestions now. You need commands. Your nervous system needs to receive the unequivocal order that the time of suppression is over. Third tool, and this one is spiritual. I want you to go back to Psalm 139 and reread a specific passage. Your eyes saw my unformed body. All the days ordained for me were written in your book before one of them came to be. This passage is not poetry. It is engineering. It is the declaration that before you were born, before the first cell of your body divided, a project already existed. A book, a detailed record of your days, not the days you would choose, the days that were written for you. And within those days is this day, is this moment, is this pressure you feel now. Nothing you live is outside the book. Neither the pain was outside, nor the waiting was outside, nor the confusion was outside. Everything was foreseen. Everything was included. Everything is an ingredient. And here is where everything converges, where neuroscience meets spirituality, where gamma waves meet the word Uro, where experiential capital meets the tzaraf of the divine goldsmith, where Joseph in prison meets you in your living room, watching this video, feeling this pressure in your chest and finally understanding what it means. It means the time has come, not human time calculated in calendars and productivity goals. God's time, the kairos, the opportune moment that cannot be manufactured, anticipated, or delayed. It simply arrives, and when it arrives, everything that seemed stuck moves. Everything that seemed dead breathes. Everything that seemed lost reappears. I need to be very honest with you about one thing. Not everyone listening to this will act. Some will feel everything I described, will recognize every symptom, will agree with every word. And yet, tomorrow, they will return to the old pattern. They will let the static cover the signal again. They will allow the voice of fear to speak louder than the voice of the calling. And they will look back a year from now and wonder what would have happened if they had acted when they felt that pressure in their chest. I do not want that for you. And more importantly, God does not want that for you. He did not bring you this far, did not forge you in the fire, did not calibrate each of your gifts with surgical precision to see you retreat at the finish line. The Apostle Paul wrote to Timothy a phrase that needs to be engraved in your spirit: fan into flame the gift of God which is in you. The word used in Greek is anazopurin, which literally means to blow on the ember until it becomes a flame again. Paul did not say ask for a new gift. He said rekindle what is already there. Because the gift did not leave, the flame did not go out, it became an ember, and an ember is fire waiting for a breath. This video is the breath. This message is the wind that hits the ember. What you do with the flame that returns is your decision, but the flame is returning. In this moment, in this season. On this 31st of March, which is not a random date on the calendar, but a milestone in the divine schedule that was established before you were born. The pressure you feel now is the pressure of the flame trying to grow. The discomfort is the heat of rebirth, and the urgency that seems to have no name has the most powerful name that exists: calling. You have been called. You are chosen. You are not late. You are exactly at the point where the goldsmith sees his own reflection in the gold, and what comes now is no longer a test. It is a throne, not the throne of human vanity, the throne of purpose fulfilled. The specific place that was reserved for you before the foundation of the world, and that no one, absolutely no one, can occupy but you. Stand up, not metaphorically, physically. If you are sitting, stand up now, straighten your spine, take a deep breath, and say out loud, I awaken, I rekindle, I advance. Say it again, I awaken, I rekindle, I advance. This declaration is not emotionalism. It is activation. It is your spirit, your mind, and your body aligning in the same direction for the first time in years. Write in the comments, I awaken. I want to see this declaration flooding this space, not as a pretty phrase, as a collective decree of the chosen who finally understood what is happening. I awaken. In the next video, I will reveal the physical and spiritual signs that confirm that the reactivation of your gifts has already begun. These are markers that most people ignore, but when you recognize them, doubt dissolves completely. Subscribe, activate the bell, and do not miss it. What is to come will confirm everything your body is already telling you.